We all have our own perception of what's normal, and this perception is constantly changing. Fashion trends come and go, and society is changed by social media and the internet before our eyes. For example, in the early 2000s, things like gaucho pants and platform flip-flops were all the rave. But now these fashion do's seem more like fashion don'ts. Now, we can observe these changes through many aspects of our society, but we thought, what was the driving force behind these changes? In George Orwell's 1984, we focus on a society set in a government-ruled, dystopian, futuristic world, where all of the citizens are ruled by a dictator known as Big Brother. Big Brother can punish them for any time they leave the status quo, and they could get killed or rejected or ostracized or any of the above for wearing different clothes, speaking a way they aren't supposed to, even thinking the wrong thing. Now, this society is comparable to our own society in extreme measures. Now, maybe we aren't killed by a dictator, and maybe we're not ruled by something fictional, but we are ruled by our phones and by technology and by social media and what we all deem popular. Now, society has been controlled by some sort of medium for as long as history began. And we can view these changes in history based on what was popular at the time. Our society will always be controlled by some form of medium.
Ever since I was a young girl, I have lived in a uniform. I'm 17 now, but since I was 4 years old, I've attended private Catholic schools. I've always been, my dress code has always been decided for me, and at times I've even been restricted on the color of my hair or what articles of jewelry I can wear. Because of this, I feel like I've missed out on a lot of opportunities to express myself in front of my peers. In middle school, so few things made each student different that even the smallest abnormality caused a child to be ridiculed or bullied. Young minds with no preconceived notion of normality become embedded with the parameters for societal expectation. As I entered high school, I experienced a community with the same childish mindset. And I soon faced a troubling question. How am I expected to freely be myself in a community that has already decided who I should be? As I experience my last few days of high school, I can't help but look towards the future. Not only in college, but in my professional career. Are the same notions of normality going to be held over my head?
Clothing is a large part of the way that we express ourselves. As Annabelle said, wearing a uniform her entire school career has greatly shaped the way that her and her peers view each other. Fashion, or the way that we express ourselves through clothing, has always been a luxury few can afford. Brands such as Victoria's Secret limit their in-store sizes to an extra large or a size 16. They are also guilty of creating a false advertisement or a sense of fantasy with their photos and their advertising through models. They use programs such as Photoshop to alter their models into something that isn't real. In an early 2000s Ralph Lauren campaign, we can see just how this can be taken to quite the extreme. Now, while it's very extreme there, sometimes the flaws are very small and we can't actually tell if they're there. But society kind of pushes it on us that we need to fit into this mold because we see all the models that look exactly the same. Since social media has been bombarded with these pictures reverting back into the 50s mindset. If we don't fit prim and properly into their mold, we need to change. But luckily for us, there is a change occurring. Brands such as Aerie, Target, Dove, ModCloth, and Old Navy are starting to represent not only real women, but real people. This type of advertising allows us to show our differences and our uniqueness in every way possible. And this allows us to have a more tolerant society, a society that can focus on changing the world for a better instead of being bogged down by the small differences.
So now, we challenge you. Don't fall prey to the seemingly endless stream of photos on your Instagram telling you who to be. Do take a stand against those suppressing individuality. Fight against the stereotypes set on you by your peers, and feel free to set examples for the next generation. Accept that people change, and society can win against itself. So don't conform to the seemingly overpowerful Big Brother in our lives. Live your life and love others while you're doing it. Thank you.